Welcome to Life at LI.Fi. Here we talk to chads at LI.Fi and the people who build out this amazing company. Today we are joined by Matt. Matt is the security architect at LI.Fi who has recently been tasked to set up the entire security processes at LI.Fi. So I really appreciate you taking out the time, Matt. Thanks for doing this.
Yeah, glad to be here. Nice to meet everyone. It'll be good to have a quick chat about security because I think it's a really important field into crypto.
Yep. So before we touch upon security, I would like to know a bit more about your journey in crypto. So like how did you end up in security and then how did you end up at LeFi and how did you end up in crypto space as a whole?
So I'll start with the crypto one. It's always been a bit of an interest of mine. It started off when my roommate started mining Litecoin, and I was like, "What's going on here?" And he took me through the process of what he was doing with his Litecoin, turning it into Bitcoin and the machines. And then he had a rig sitting in our garage for a while just mining coins. So that really piqued my interest because the technology was really cool. So after that, I followed it for a while. Originally, I was one of the naysayers thinking, oh, this will never go anywhere. But then I started seeing the technical benefits to it. Like when you see major organizations pick it up, it's amazing. And at the same time, I was working in technology and networks. So the cryptographic side was really interesting with a lot of networking being around encrypting things. So but it both piqued my technical and personal interests. And then throughout my career, I've always worked heavily in the security side, so I've just maintained that interest in crypto until I moved across to DevOps. So I was network security, and then I moved across to DevOps, where I still maintained a security presence working on the cloud security at a major bank. Following that, I worked for a payments provider where I did quite a bit with data, but that really solidified my love of the security field because it was working with the data to analyze it to see where the security problems were. And then I joined LI.FI. I had a good friend working here. She told me a role was going. Thought it'd be a great fit, and it's time to get into the future of tech rather than working with the more traditional finance side. Um, and from there, I was given the opportunity to take over the security aspects at LI.FI as a security architect.
Yep, yep. As you are the only security expert that I know, I would like to ask you like because you have worked in traditional security as well as now you're working in crypto security. So what do you think is like the fundamental difference between both of them?
I don't think there is a fundamental difference between both of them. I think when you look at why you need security, it's the same. You've got people out there who want to cause harm or disrupt services. So the technology is different, yes. The code's different, yes. But the fundamentals are the same. Like one of the core premises I have with security is the most important thing to secure is the people, and that's best done through education and learning and transparency.
Yep. I remember you once telling me this, like it's no matter how many precautions you take, like securing your wallet, securing your smart contract, securing everything. But if your PC is vulnerable, then there is no point in securing. Like if you are even connected to a malicious network as a Wi-Fi, you are not even secure. So like you have to really think about security from a fundamental principle rather than thinking of like, should I click on this email or should I click on this transaction or should I like connect my wallet to this website?
Yeah, it should be present in every thought that you have. Is this a secure action that I'm taking? And I think that's just a good life skill to have in anything that you're doing. It's like you walk into a place and you have that sense of fear because you know something's wrong. That can be applied to the same that same feeling can be applied to when you're dealing in the crypto space. It doesn't feel right. Trust your gut, do a bit of research and see where you are. But to touch on the point that you said earlier, that it doesn't matter if you secure everything but don't secure your device, I think maybe that's slightly wrong. You should secure everything, but you can still have a weakness if you don't secure your device. So a common principle in security is defense in depth. So it's layer upon layer upon layer of security. So if any one aspect of security fails, you have another layer to defend yourself with.
Can you expand on that? Like how does layers of security work together?
So if you look at a bank when they hold your money, to get into the bank, you've got to get through the front door. That's your first layer of security. Then you've got to get past the security guard. Then you've got to get into the back office. Then you've got to get into the vault. And there's sort of extra layers. And in technology, that's the same. So just look at using logging into your email. You log in, you have your password, that's your first layer of security. You then have your multi-factor authentication token, that's your second layer. And then another layer of security there is the fact that it's using an HTTPS and the traffic's encrypted. But you'll also have a password to your computer, you'll have a code to your phone. So it's all these little steps to move ahead. And you take good security precautions by not telling people your password, using a complex password. So it's just about layer upon layer. Or in an enterprise system, it's about having the right networking security in place, having the right personal security, and having the right access security and access control. So
Yep. So your role is primarily about enterprise security at LI.Fi. But
yeah,
like as someone who doesn't understand, like for me, security is like good password. Like don't use at ABC at 1234, use something different. So how does like what is security and what are its subdomains? So like there might be a domain called network security. There might be a domain called, let's just say, uh, personal security where people take care, like good care about their digital footprint of where they go. They interact securely with the internet or the web. So, what are different domains of security and what is enterprise security?
but enterprise security is looking at the security of an enterprise holistically and then making sure that all the other areas sort of align to the policy and the governance that you put in. So you've got areas in security like information security, security governance. The information security, I think, sort of tells its story. It's about how do you secure the information, and it sort of covers data security as well. Slightly different, but sort of the same thing, making sure that your data doesn't leak, that it's marked properly, that you've got the right policies around who can access it. You've got identity and access management, which is about who has access to what and who can access your systems. Network security, which is my biggest security background, is about securing the network from potential threats, be that with a firewall or a network intrusion defense and prevention system, detection and prevention system, sorry. Um, then you've got the more offensive security aspects like penetration testing or bug hunting. Security is such a broad field, though, that you're going to have so many different roles and so many different people working to sort of move it forward. But in my eyes, I'm not the only security person here. I think everyone here can be a security person. And that's the mentality I want to push forward at LI.FI.
You make sense. So, like, would you walk me through like what does a mindset of a security professional look like? So basically, my question is to give you an example. So does it work like a scientist or does it work like a detective? So a scientist gets to a gets to something by experimenting a lot. So they try out different things and then they reach to the end result. A detective is something that retraces how things happened. So how does a work of security researcher fall in the sense like is it a scientific approach like where you try a lot of things, you stress test things, and then you build it out? Or is it like a detective thing where you know a few vectors and then you retrace and build things that are not that are secure to those attack vectors?
You have to be a bit of both, to be fair. So you need to be the detective to secure yourself against what's known, but you also need to be the scientist because there's things called zero-day attacks or zero-day threats, which no one's seen before. So you have to do a bit of research and a bit of thinking, like what could potentially happen? Like you can't just look at the current threats in the market. So I
So
think
are you
it's a bit of both.
so are you a scientist? Like so are you are you more of a scientist or are you more of a detective?
I think I'm more of a scientist. Like I really enjoy the research and looking at the trends and sort of understanding where the market's going, and the speculation of the security field and what the threats are. But it's also, yeah, I'm a bit of a detective too, and secretly, I really enjoy the policy side of the work as well. Like I like reading the policies, understanding the regulations and the governance.
You mentioned that network security was your main domain. So, can you tell me a bit about like for someone who is absolutely disconnected from the field, like what is it, how does it work, and like yeah, that's just the gist of it. Like, what is it and how does it work?
So network security is a very big field. It's much more than just your firewall or, network intrusion detection and prevention systems. It's looking at network access control. So you've got tools which will only let devices which are authenticated onto it. So it's not just you that has to be authenticated, it's your laptop. And it can classify different laptops. It's about having the right wireless security in place or And then you've got fields like web application firewalls, which look at the application traffic at a very deep level and make decisions based on what's coming through it at that application level. So, and then you've just got the governance side of it as well, where you're helping people understand what good security is on a network. How do
Yep.
you get the servers to talk to each other in a secure way? How do you get the client device to talk to the server in a secure way? But in that role, I also worked with a lot of endpoint defense systems. So working with antiviruses, email security for data leak protection and secure emails. So I wasn't just working the network. I looked at a lot of clients' security holistically from a technology side of point.
Yep. When I was growing up, there was this myth about antiviruses. Like the companies that build and sell antiviruses, they are the ones that secretly make the viruses that that can attack people's computer, and then they release the antivirus, the new version, so that they'll get more sales. So what is the truth to it?
I don't think that's true. If that ever came out, the company would be destroyed. I think reputable security brands out there would not risk their livelihood on that. And the good ones out there, they have systems which can detect patterns, which they may not be a known threat, but they can say, hey, this doesn't look right. Maybe we should take a look at this. Yeah, with the big companies, I think most of them you can trust.
So, before going towards like more of like a personal get to know you thing, I would like to ask one thing, like which is your in your whole research and in your whole field, which is that one incident that was like, damn, like no one is safe. There are a lot of attack vectors, and I don't know like how to protect against something so what can I say? So unidentifiable vector. So like you must have gotten through a lot of, you must know a lot of incidents that have happened. So which one is your most mind-blowing story that you know or you can share?
So I don't think I'll talk about anything that I've personally experienced, but I think the one which really blew my mind and fascinated me was something called Stuxnet. It was the world's first digital superweapon. It was designed to blow up or destroy certain nuclear centrifuges. And the way it was coded was brilliant. Nothing detected it, and it was to spread all over the world till it got to the one laptop it needed to get on, and then it hit the centrifuges. And it's just that scares me because that could be targeted in major infrastructure in countries. But the way it was written was just brilliant. It was undetected. They found a copy of it on the International Space Station. So I think
But
that
then how
attack.
did they find it in the first place?
So after it had succeeded in what it was doing, people started noticing that there was this weird thing. They started picking up on it. Researchers found it, and then they saw what it was. But it was wrapped in so many layers. They had done so much security work on this virus that it was just amazing that this can happen. That state-based actors can write something like this. Or when it comes to security incidents with work, I think the big ones which always stick in your head is when you just have large vulnerabilities released and you've got to wake up in the night and you realize how careful you have to be with your dependencies because if you look at the Log4j incident, so much got affected by Log4j, which was I was woken up in the middle of the night when I was working at a bank to go through and make sure that we weren't impacted anywhere because it was just so widely used. Basically, someone had turned a vault door into a screen mesh door.
Yep. I actually don't know what the last two sentences you meant, but like it
Uh,
sounded pretty serious. Like I'm sorry, I'm so dumb
No, that's
about
okay.
it. But
Log4j was it was a massive vulnerability which was included in a lot of code. So it was just something that a lot of people were using, and it had a major vulnerability which allowed a pretty major attack vector to open up. So, and this was just caused because the code itself wasn't the developers using Log4j may not have been insecure, but the actual package was. So
yeah,
like the library that they called was insecure on that one.
yeah, like that's the I saw that meme a while ago where like there has been like there is a small stack of things that people have built on, and there is this like small box that is supporting a huge stack, and it went pointed it to that, and it said like a small library that a guy wrote in his basement 20 years ago, and everyone is using it, like Amazon, Google, Netflix, and
Yeah.
everyone is using it, and no one knows what is the attack vector there. So I feel like that's pretty fascinating.
Yeah. And you never know where the next attack's going to come from. So again, that's why you look at things holistically and start to secure off all the different sectors and make sure that you're prepared for anything to come in from any direction and to either block the attack or mitigate the damage.
You like your job sounds like it's pretty stressful because like if you miss out anything, that's an attack vector, and you have to be cautious 24/7. So when it comes to time, when it's just time to decompress, so what are your favorite ways to decompress from work?
Yeah, so the obvious one, working in tech. I love video games, so I play some video games in the evenings with friends. Um, Also play games like Magic the Gathering with friends as well. I like to just spend time with my wife. I love cooking as well and music. So I just, unless I'm playing video games, I just try and get away from some technology, spend a bit of time. And just to touch on that one point again, I don't think I'm the only person in security at this company. I think everyone in this company is in security in some way, shape, or form, whether it's just making sure your device is secure or just having that mindset of, is what I'm doing secure? So my job is to lead the thought on security for a company full of people who have a secure mindset and to build that mindset in, as well
You
as the foundations for a good secure platform.
so
Yeah.
as we've been coming like we've been talking a while right now, and I
Yeah.
know like I've asked a lot of dumb questions. So what is that one question that you think like everyone should ask you but no one does?
I think that one question is, what could I be doing to be more secure? Like, and let's have a chat about it. I don't know everything about security, and I think a lot of security is common sense and you can relate it to real world things. So if you ask, what could I be doing more? We can have a good chat and maybe something you think of that I haven't thought of. But
So
that's the key to good security is what can I be doing? So always just have that question in your head. What more could I do?
yep.
Yeah, I think that's the core of it.
So let's just try to bring this one home. And the last question I would like to ask you is like, what is that one tip you would give to an upcoming security researcher who wants to break into the field?
So it would be find something that you're passionate about and look at the security around that. If you want to look at smart contracts, start looking at some bug bounties and watch some videos about how people have participated in bug bounties. If you want to go into network security, there's great resources out there on YouTube that you can take a look at to understand network security. If you want to look at security governance, again, just have a look at what's out there and find that aspect of security that you're really passionate about and just have a go. There's no there's no one route into security. It's just having a go at it and having that right mindset and having that curiosity.
Yep, makes sense. Thanks, Matt. Thanks for doing this. It has been
All good.
fun, and I hope
Yeah,
it
it's been
was fun
good.
for you too. Yep.
All right, cheers.